Hi, I'm Colin Blake, Director of Spirits Education at Moonshine University. We, more than anything, probably get asked about sensory and how do I get better at sensory and how does one go through training to become an expert at doing sensory. And the reality is you don't need a laboratory, you don't need a classroom. All you need is a little bit of time and wherewithal to practice. Really, when it comes to sensory, all you need to do is spend some time thinking about what you're trying to pick out. When you are tasting and smelling spirits, there is a whole world of different aromas and flavors in there. And when you put your nose in that glass or put a little bit of that spirit on your tongue, your mind can careen all over the place trying to figure out, what do I smell? What do I taste? The biggest thing that you need to do when it comes to sensory is give yourself focus. Some people will use certain aids like flavor wheels or sensory kits and a whole variety of other things. But the reality is all you need is some items from around your house, from the pantry, the refrigerator, the spice rack. Because really when you are looking at sensory and doing sensory at home, there are two main types of sensory that you need to keep in mind. The first is exposure training. And that's exactly what it sounds like. It is merely exposing yourself to an aroma and flavor and seeing what sense memory gets triggered. When you smell something like allspice, it's gonna smell like allspice. Your sense memory is gonna be in allspice. But when you smell something like acetone, acetone is going to remind you of removing fingernail polish or the nail salon. So exposure training really is just exposing yourself to aroma and seeing what it reminds you of. If you want to start doing a deeper dive into some of the main things that are created during fermentation, we have this whole list of congeners that we always look at. There are 10 main congeners overall. The examples right here, you can also check out a link below to see what these congeners are, but you can actually find some of these things around your house. Propal alcohol, rubbing alcohol, generally that's in your household first aid kit. Now, not all of these things are readily available, but many of them are. And you're gonna be pretty surprised that you will find a lot of these individual congeners in a finished spirit. And it depends what type of spirit you're looking at and how you're doing sensory and a whole variety of different things. But believe it or not, these individual congeners that are created during fermentation are actually pretty easy to pick out as you're doing more and more sensory on different spirits. Now, the other type of sensory that we are big fans of here is side-by-side sensory training. And that is where you have a whole variety of different things that you want to look for in a spirit. So literally you can empty out your refrigerator, your spice rack, your workshop, your pantry, and set up a whole bunch of different things and then sit down and pour a spirit and literally, again, using the allspice example, take that allspice, smell it, really think about that sense memory, and then go to your spirit. And sometimes it's helpful to pour 2 or 3 different spirits and go through and see if you pick them out in any of that spirit. As you do this exercise more and more, you are gonna form stronger and stronger sense memories, and it's gonna become easier and easier to pick them out when they are present. And if you wanna know more about sensory and sensory training, we here at Moonshine University have a 2-day sensory training workshop where we get into a variety of methodologies for different spirits. We get into what should be there, then we also get into faults, flaws, and what to do when you do find a fault or flaw in a spirit. And then we also tie it all together with building quality assurance and quality control programs. And beyond that, all of our classes are hands-on and have some aspects of sensory with it. So check out our classes, and if any of them are of interest, come on down and learn sensory with us because we love it a great deal.